Giant.
And I'll be honest though, Saijin God, to be fair, he's been on the Zarya, and Zarya is a DPS position, at least for the season when you are playing Goats, and Kephrii is going to be back in with the Widowmaker as expected. And last season when Saijin God was on Xavier, he was technically DPS as well. So here we go on this first defense here.
You ready to see some bell tower grabs?
Well, the thing is, we have some very good Widows now that we've seen in this tournament, and Kephrii, well, he's a very good Widow as well. He's going to try and prove that he's the best.
Water able to open up on that Pharah as well. Much more comfortable for him. Kephrii's got a decent sideline here.
If anything, he could probably say he has the most hours on Widowmaker across all of them in the tournament, but right now, this opening push, the shields are going to be a bit of a problem as Pt.3 and the rest of Giant push through the archway. This is where it's difficult for, I say difficult, but he threads the needle.
Yeah, managed to find that one, and that's the danger of the Widowmaker. That's the threat that the Widowmaker has when holding down those sightlines. Sun Series goes down. Actually, very aggressive commit from Water. They can kind of afford to here. This is a really unfortunate spot for Giant that ends up being almost a full team wipe, or at least a delayed one.
Look at this straight away. Saijin got into the Genji, Pt.3 onto the Winston. They've seen this before. They don't want to lose to the Pharah Widow again. And this is smart. Pichu even going to go, Mushroom even going to go onto the Tracer. First time we're seeing Mushroom play a DPS. This is the dive that I wanted to see on Busan, and they're going to do it. It's a straight classic dive. Tracer Genji. I've not seen this for a long time, and surely I have missed it.
Actually, I do think we've seen Mushroom on Tracer briefly, but more just as kind of a last-ditch contest sort of thing, or, you know, when they're out of ideas. So it'll be interesting to see how well they execute on this.
This is so good from Giant Esports. If this doesn't work, then surely nothing will unless one of them wants to counter snipe. But so far, they have to find one of the DPSs unless Kephrii finds them first.
That's some ragdoll right there as he goes flying on forward, and this is a lot of pressure laid down onto Pichu as well, as eventually going to go down. Suddenly the rest of this team might just have to flag a retreat. They haven't exactly got counter trades.
You can see that Pt.3 was kind of positioning to try and jump on top of Kephrii. He sees that. He just knows how to play against the Winston, and I want to really highlight the Druid here as well. Water now gets the cleanup across both a Pharah and a Widowmaker.
Dies again.
They have the opportunity to just clean up damage, whether that's Kephrii landing a really good headshot or body shot on a player, and then Water's rockets cleaning that player up, or vice versa. Water lands a lot of splash damage or some rocket damage, and then Kephrii cleans it up with a nice Widowmaker shot between both the DPSs, which both benefit from the damage boost of Medic onto the Mercy. It's a very powerful duo.
And Pt.3 dying twice before Giant had even been able to reset. I mean, look at this. Almost a full Christmas tree for Global Esports Pantheon. He got down early, though. This is something. This is an opening, not with that rocket barrage on Saijin God. Hold on a second. Counter trade, though. And this is starting to look decent for Giant. They also had that closer respawn. We must not forget that. Self-destruct sky high. Good close out.
Oh, no, Medic.
1-for-1 with the Divas, and that's big now for Giant. They're in a much more favorable position than before, even when losing Pichu. They've kind of steered through the worst, but it's only Water really in the mix of this one. Nosiest to get out of here.
And that was such a difficult place for Global Esports to be, because they finally lost a player. Playing 6 versus 5 as well. Mushroom actually misses the pulse bomb.
Little unfortunate, but Primal Rage was there. As he jumped up into the air, the cap goes over. Now Global Esports, they're in deep, they've committed, but this is not something you want to stay in on, even with the kill on Saijin God. This could end up being a rout.
They actually are in a decent position though. Kephrii's back into the mix. Water was still alive from the previous engagement. And at this sort of point, the 6v5, they can play quite close. They can make sure the cart doesn't get good movement yet, putting a lot of pressure even onto Sun Series. It will still be very difficult for Giant to actually dive on top of Kephrii, especially if Water's on a different angle, applying different pressure from somewhere else.
The crossfire from these two, and just the number of kills Water has got on these squishy, even high mobility members, able to get just one shot, a second shot, and suddenly they're out of the picture. This guy's consistency on Pharah is insane.
And Mushroom's actually swapped onto the Brigadier here, so their ability to dive is a lot worse, but at the same point, here comes a
are you kidding me? Water again, and now has a rocket barrage. Not that he even needs it, because Giant are in full retreat.
Can I just say, justice to serve there, Water gets the revenge kill against the Dragonblade from Saijin God. The same one that Saijin God and Mushroom denied against him on Numbani, and Saijin God is done playing games. It's going to be Super McCree time. It's not going to be the flashbang dash combo, but it will at least be hit scan damage against Water, and maybe even a little bit more pressure against Kephrii from long range.
Start calling that bash bang, I guess, but at any rate, needs to displace Water or Medic, ideally both. There's the barrage.
Nice bubble.
Up a little bit. Pt.3 does go down as the Sun Series mech, but Water traded his life out for that one now. If Sage and God can get unlocked, they might be in an okay spot here, but yeah, Kephree's still just doing so much damage. The flashbang onto the D.Va isn't your ideal target. There's still all these tanks here, keeping in Giant's face.
That's the problem with Giant Esports. They're so focused on Water here, they forgot about Dre and Kephrii, and it's something you don't want to do. He's still managing to get shots in here. Giant have still now just finally getting a little bit of cart push in, but Kephrii using him for sight. Water's back into play. Double support ultimates available. Giant Esports, they lose Sage and God straight away.
Man, once again. And they've got barely any cart progress in all this time as well. Even now as they've started getting subbed, it's just not much. Primal Rage pop from Pt.3, but he's had a Discord orb on him that whole time. Eats a chunk of pain. Still hasn't really got topped up and hasn't really been able to regroup much either. Pichu needs to commit this. He does go down. Chose not to commit this, but I mean, what's the plan here for Giant? Are they just going to let themselves continue to be separated?
They have to reset here because Sage and God was respawning. I mean, there's a chance there that Pichu actually does use the Transcendence and then Giant can regroup with them, but right now they're being stagger killed. And Hyok's looking for a little bit more, so is Water. And Giant Esports, they need to regroup at 6 because they actually have ultimates, but they don't have a chance to use them as long as someone keeps dying. And with Kephrii pushed up, and with Kephrii looking for more frags, it's likely it's going to be another 6v5 in favor of Pantheon.
It's going to be a tough push to make all the way as well. A lot of distance to go, very little time, only just really getting back onto it now, and if they lose one fight, they are donezo. Self-destruct board from Sakura. Rocket Barrage onto Rocket. Nice block from Sun Series to force that death onto Water. Pichu pops Transcendence, and Giant are in a decent spot here. Didn't get much for the rest of their ult.
Overtime.
Suddenly, neither have Global Esports Pantheon. No one quite the better of it yet, but the card is moving.
And as we get to the final stages as well, Water swapping onto the Zarya now. And the final push from Giant Esports, barely any ults on either side. The picks are going to be so important.
Self-destruct up in the air, not able to get that headshot onto the D-Mech member there. Nice find on Mushroom though, you're happy to take that. Kephree's pretty safe here for the time being. Pressure is on Giant to be getting the kills, but they're just surrounded, taking so much damage on all sides. If anyone pops out for too long, Kephrii finds them. Gio got even shot Pt.3's feet up from under the cart. That's such an unfortunate way to die, but the reality is they'd already taken so much damage, they weren't able to heal themselves back up, and they weren't getting counter trades either.
And Pt.3 enjoy the trip there is what Kephrii says to him. It's going to be a hold onto B.
I get it.
And a decent hold as well. It was a decent push. You can see the cart nearly made it to the terminal. 4B nearly got to the checkpoint. I just want to say this combo right now between the Fire and the Widowmaker of Water and Kephrii, it is so difficult, especially on a map that actually favors Widowmaker sightlines, that actually has a high enough skybox and open space for a Fire to deal with. You play any maps like that and it's suddenly very difficult. Now, if we go on to C, that's when I have to question, what does Water and Kephrii play from there? I think they probably go to Goats. Kephrii probably doesn't play the Widowmaker on C anymore because it's too enclosed, it just doesn't give you the angles you want. But at the same time, they really utilize the composition and the heroes where they are best on A and B, so we never get to see what that last point looks like. We never get to see what Global Esports was going to do. But that's actually a great boon for future games and future matches because now teams that want to scout them out don't get to see how they would have adapted when we get on C.
Element of surprise. It's good to see Global Esports as well. With the week that they've now actually had with Kephrii, they've really kind of worked out some ways they can play in with this hero pool. This is, I mean, it's not super inventive. It's just, it just feels very logical to utilize these picks out of Kephrii and Water in the way that they have.
Yeah, and it's the passive damage. It's just the fact that he gets to constantly shoot you, and it's so difficult for you to contest him. And even on this attack, it's going to be very much the same thing. In fact, I would argue it's even more difficult for Giant Esports to contest Kephrii now while they're attacking.
Very little you can do about that sightline. You almost wonder if there's a point where someone on Giant wants to swap off and just straight up contest Kephrii head to head, but if they don't have a solid enough Widow player, then they kind of can't even do that.
And to be honest, you might even consider just running a Sob or something, someone that can just dive on top of Kephrii, just constantly shooting him, because as long as he's doing free damage, as long as he's also distracting for Water or vice versa, they're able to just work together so well with the two DPSs.
Water finally opens it up. They find Pichu. I mean, both these DPSs are so dangerous. Like, as much as we talk about Kephrii, suddenly it's Water doing the work. And we talk about Water, and suddenly it's Kephrii doing the work. And there it is, Water again, just all over that kill feed. And gets two with one rocket. Look at that guy.
You see the attention from Giant Esports. They're trying to think right now, who do we go for? As soon as they try and pressure out Kephrii, Water is unattended and he's getting so much free damage. As soon as they try and pressure out Water, Kephrii is unattended and he gets so much free damage. No matter who you go on, somebody is shooting you for free. Somebody is doing way too much damage. Somebody's picking up the kills.
The reality is, Giant's Goats is just not equipped for this kind of composition on this kind of map with all the ways that Global
Now it's all Kephrii.
Position and play it, and exactly, now it's all Kephrii. They focus on Water, Kephrii gets the work done, the cap's going to come through.
They're just tag teaming in and out. One time it's Water all over the kill feed, then it's Kephrii all over the kill feed. They share that moment, they share the spotlight so well, and for Giant Esports, they're running out of ideas. Sergeant God, he's getting desperate, he wants to counter-snipe, but can you really counter-snipe Kephrii here? That is such a dangerous prospect.
This is the first we've seen of Sergeant God on this as well, so it's going to be very, very tough to, I mean, even just measure up. The fact that he's not played it thus far.
That's why you don't do it.
Hasn't even fired one shot yet, and he is dead. Now it's all Kephrii.
Unless you got 1,200 hours on Widow, don't try it. And Water right now, it's his turn. Tag team, slap that hand.
Jeez, it's just going to be, I mean, the tank line is absolutely deconstructed there. Kephrii still keeping the sight line on lockdown. Sergeant God, I mean, what can Giant even do?
And by the way, Global Esports have 4 of the ultimates that they haven't needed to use because both Kephrii and Water just keep getting so much kills. What are you meant to do here? I mean, your Giant Esports, like you said, you're waiting for ultimates, you're waiting for double supports here, but you're getting picked out so effectively. You're just going to be forced to use them at the worst possible times.
Feels like it's only a matter of time before Kephrii finds one, threads the needle, gets a headshot. There it is on Rocket. Oh, I never get tired of watching this, I tell you. Who's next? Oh, he gets bumped back, actually. Might go
Solo Primal Rage.
He's going to be
That's how
back
much they
on.
want him.
Does at least open up Sergeant God for a moment, but it's only a moment. He's only got one to show for it. Kephrii finally goes down Giant. They're kind of getting a bit of a second wind here, but it might be a short-lived one. They picked off back wall, have to wait out the self-destruct from Sakura. Now they come back into the fight. Oh! Sergeant God is actually really starting to prove his worth here now on this Widow. Doesn't quite finish off the D-Mech Sakura, but he'll take the D-Mech.
You don't want to anger this God today because right now he actually does have that infrasight available as that cut's about to reach the end point. This is the first fight the Giant actually truly win and force a full retreat and a full reset from Global Esports. 4 ultimates used by Global Esports there. A full Primal Rage committed just against Kephrii. Ends up being worth it. I mean, Kephrii has no response against the solo Primal. But right now, both infrasights means both Widowmakers probably just want to wait this one out.
And it does ultimately feel like a matter of time. It feels like Giant have got some momentary reprieve. I mean, it's only a matter of time until Kephrii or Water finds another big string of kills, and there's not any more room to play with for Giant.
Still waiting for Water here right now. It's actually a lot more dangerous for him. The one Widowmaker pick kind of applies pressure on both DPSs, but Water's already done damage.
Yeah, now it's just Pichu, who's already so low. Kephrii finds Sergeant God. And now it's all over but the crying, I dare say, unless Rocket somehow manages to rescue this cart. Look at this, Pichu knows he can't even peek here. Dead before he gets to it. There's the sound barrier though. Rocket, actually they've found back wall, but they need to get more members on here as Rocket goes down. Mushroom, he needs to at least get some damage, some kills, goes down to Inkyok. The res is there on back wall as well. So no skin on Global Esports Pantheon's nose yet. Sakura finds one with self-destruct. Kephrii finds the mech, and it's all done.
A 3-1 victory.